Good evening, campers, it's me, Kieran. Today we are going to talk about Elaine Feeney's How to Build a Boat. I'm going to start this review by doing something that no one ever expects anyone to do on the internet. I'm going to apologise, because in the last video I said in order for this to work there has to be some truth, and I need to come clean, okay? My least substrata of author is poet turned novelist, and Sean Hughes, similar to Motion Bong, does the exact same thing where they just overwrite and get so over descriptive that it moves into such pretentious that I enter somewhat into a permanent state of eye rolling or just laughing at like the absolute absurdity of some of the language used. Some people might point out that the world works in mysterious ways like that, but I would say Feeney doesn't overwrite things like most poet turns authors do. How have I digressed and not even got into the book? But you know what? I really enjoyed this one. You're right, Bloodbrand. Start as you mean to go on. If you read the blurb to this, you'll understand that Jamie is one of three protagonists, actually, and he wants to build a perpetual motion machine. And from the off, we know that's not going to happen. Not because this is set in Ireland, people, no. It's because this is clearly not science fiction. We know this isn't going to work. But let's talk about how we get to the perpetual motion machine that is never built. Jamie, although not specified, is somewhere on the autistic spectrum, and through his eyes we get to assess the world. It's a tumultuous time for Jamie. Not only is he in his adolescence, but he's starting his first day of school. From the off, he's picked on by boys 1, 2, and 3 because of how different he is. They make fun of his mum's passage. Jamie is matter of fact, he's quite blunt, and advises these 3 kids that, well, if his mum didn't give birth to him, that she wouldn't have died. Although this upsets Jamie, there's not much to reflect on. That is exactly what happened. It is what it is. It's outside of Jamie's control, but everything that Jamie wants is control. And feels that if he could build a perpetual motion machine, that he could in some way tap into his mum's energy. But again, this is set in Ireland, so we know that's not going to happen. Now, Jamie is not the only one starting afresh in school. There are 2 teachers, Tess and Tig. Tess works alongside students who have additional learning needs, and Tig is a woodwork teacher. Tess and Tig feel as though they don't really have anyone looking out for themselves. Tess specifically. She and her husband, Paul, are going through IVF. And in the last possible time where Tess could become pregnant, Paul's not there. Paul doesn't really understand Tess, to be honest. They have 2 very different backgrounds and 2 very different upbringings. Although Tess is trying to integrate within the O'Toole family, she feels more and more isolated and begins to take comfort, if not refuge, within Tig's company. All the characters that we meet within How to Build a Boat have weight on their shoulders, and they're gonna have to learn to go with the flow, even if their friends, family, and the school are saying otherwise. And Jamie's interaction with these 2 teachers form the bond that creates the story. Both teachers, but I'm going to be specific here on Tig, knows that Jamie cannot build a perpetual motion machine, because you can't build a perpetual motion machine because you're in Ireland or science fiction novel. And so Tig, upon listening to Jamie's story, understands that Jamie likes watching his mum swim and keeps rewinding certain sections. And therefore Tig has the idea, as a woodwork teacher, they could build a boat. Therefore, not how to build a perpetual motion machine, but how to build a boat, because the boat is constantly in motion. It is not a perpetual motion machine, but it is in perpetual motion due to the waves. Jamie isn't best pleased with this, how would I call it, engineering downgrade? Jamie seeks but also wants control, and is now beginning to realise this idea is moving on to other people who can begin to take control. Also, this isn't like a fancy boat, this is a currach. Tig, the Irish Islander, you try saying that 5 times after a Guinness, wants to build a very simple traditional boat. This is a currach. It's practical, it's functional, and you know what? They could probably get it done in the school year. So we see Jamie learn, grow, and adapt to his circumstances alongside the building of the boat. But as I mentioned, he's one of 3 protagonists, the other 2 being Tess and Tig. And these 2 people, they know what they want. They have control, or they have what they perceive that they want. And this building of the boat is going to unpin some of those elements. Is it really what they want, or is it what other people want? Are they trying to aspire to others' needs? This is addressed further when Tig and one of the woodwork students have a chat towards the end. Simply, the construction of the currach is a little bit of a pain. It doesn't need to be done, it doesn't have to be done, and some people don't even want it to be done. In fact, Jamie's really struggling giving over control of this boat project. He's enraptured by high-end mathematical concept because of the rigidity, because of the rules, that there's no real fluidity between the numbers. But this is all theory, and Jamie learns that everyone is implementing maths in the construction of this boat. However, a boat will still float with a little bit of hodgepodging. What you have here with How to Build a Boat is a story of three people trying to grapple with getting control of their lives, and are coming to terms through humility that they can relinquish that control, that they don't need to build what they need. Maybe they just need to focus on the boat. How to Build a Boat is a quiet book that just brims with splendour, and I've absolutely adored reading and thinking about this book over the past few days. And for me, How to Build a Boat is an 8 out of 10.